What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? This has been a very alarming situation as the city of Chicago is at its probably lowest point as Mayor, Brandon Johnson, who's presiding, over the city. This has been a growing problem in the United States, but mainly Chicago, Illinois. The education and school system is going haywire, and it is at its very lowest point I've probably ever seen it at in my life. The Chicago public school system is going bankrupt. They've gone bankrupt. And they want us to believe it's not the budget. Let's listen to this.
Also new for us here at 4, nearly 1,500 teachers out at Chicago Public Schools. The layoffs come on the heels of a doomsday budget with a $700 million gap to be filled. But CPS says today's cuts are not related to this year's deficit. CBS News Chicago investigator Dorothy Tucker here now taking a close look at these cuts, Dorothy.
Well, Joe, as you said, hundreds of teachers, special education assistants, and even parents who help out in the classroom are impacted by these latest cuts. Let me break it down. The layoffs include 432 teachers, members of the Chicago Teachers Union. 123 of them teach special education students. CPS said the number of teachers cut this year is about 50 less than last year. But special education classroom assistants appear to be impacted more this year. In that job position, there were 677 layoffs announced today. They are represented by SEIU Local 73. That union saw only 404 cuts last year. In an interview yesterday, the interim CEO for the Board of Education did indicate the cuts were coming.
We have everything on the table, and what's driving the decision that we will ultimately come to, students first.
CPS insists the cuts are not connected to the deficit. School leaders say it's all part of the annual budget that shifts staff according to school needs.
Still, it's a big number.
It is indeed.
And they still have the work of the budget to do as well, right?
They got a lot of work to do, and as always, parents are concerned as well. They should be.
Yeah.
Hello.
Now,
My name is Adam.
I'm sorry, Adam, not to cut you off. Just don't need to hear from you. As you can see, not only is that a large number, that is a huge fact and a dangerous one. 1,400 jobs gone. 700 almost special ed assistant teachers cut. Staffing over almost 400 positions gone. Now, the budget is $700 and something million in debt. The city is over $700 million in debt. But they claim this has nothing to do with the budget. It's hard to see because it's such a large number. Why wouldn't it have anything to do with the budget? There's no money in there. Where's the money going? We all know where the money went. To immigrants coming into the country. It was coming into the city. We were spending all our money dumping it on the immigrants coming in the country and coming into the city of Chicago. We're accommodating everyone else except for our citizens. He said the surrounding countries must be bracing for impact because in Chicago, just offered me a sign-on bonus to teach special ed at the high school. Well, I don't know what they doing because they just cut the budget and cut everybody's jobs. But this new mayoral election, this might be the first time Chicago elects a Republican mayor. Yeah, they act like this budget doesn't affect this deficit and there's no money in the budget. It don't affect anything. Of course, this affects the teachers union. Oh, you're in North Chicago. Okay, yeah, that's different. So, yeah, it's horrific. It's horrific the way they're doing this process. It just really doesn't make a lot of sense here. I've seen a lot of things go left and turn for the worse, but nothing is pretty much as much as this shift has went. I'm just like, how did we get here? And you got the Chicago mayor acting like everything is everything. Like he's acting like, oh, it's just Trump and his interference. I'm like, Trump? What does he got to do with your budget? This was going on in the Biden administration. Well, my thing is, how do you want crime to get resolved, right? You want crime to stop and cease. How you plan to achieve that when you are cutting out education and closing public schools? So you're overcrowding certain schools so the teachers can't really teach. What are those kids going to do? They're just going to drop out, go in the streets, and cause all kind of hell. You're pushing them to that. And then the abandoned schools, you're using them schools to house doggone, not the homeless that we got in the city, immigrants that come into the country. And you give them money. Also, they can come over here out of this country and vote Democrat. Wow. Hell, why don't you just ask the homeless to do it? They'll do it for you if you're going to give them some housing and rooms. Give them what you're giving the immigrants. They'll vote for your ass. But see, this is what we mean about those who are like not in the frame of mind of doing what's right by people. They don't see what's actually happening out here in the streets. Now, this was a warning that was coming, and they told the people this was happening during the city hall meeting where the people get to confront the mayor.
So it has already been determined that you don't follow the United States Constitution. And maybe that's perhaps because you're not a founding father and your name is not on the document. So perhaps if we show you something that your name is on, maybe you'll follow those rules. We got a rules of order and procedure, City Council, City of Chicago, for 2023 to 2027, with your name on it. However, we sit in here all the time and watch you violate our rights. We sit in here all the time and watch you allow City Council to violate our rights. Now we're gonna talk about this budget, about the strange things that's happening. Because again, your name was on this executive order of May 2023. This executive order for immigration, migrants, and refugee rights. You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You gonna be held accountable for it. And we want a forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration. You all are trying to do everything but that, when in fact, that's where all the money went. So anything that you all pass, it's not genuine, it's not honest, because you're trying to cover up where our money actually went. Now, it's been some strange voting going on. Let's talk about the fact that Taliaferro and Sergio Lopez got extra money. Could it be because Byron Sergio Lopez wrote a letter on my behalf to help with my case, and so did Taliaferro? Could it be that they were told that they could get more votes if they blew my case? Whoa. Now, let's look at Alderman David Moore, who have been in here and listened to me talk about my probate all the time and haven't done anything. Could it be he planning a seminar with Lori and them, while at the same time selling me out because he's supposed to be getting a field house for his ward? We got something for you. Fridays, famous Friday, and we got another one. This is Chicago Flip Red. Chicago Red got you too. You got Chicago Red and you got Chicago Flip Red, and both of us getting that. So now, who's gonna be famous Friday? Pull this name real fast. Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Yeah!
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is Sharon Abbott.
Brandon Johnson, first of all, I hate to break your heart. I didn't vote for you. I'm a lifelong conservative. Nevertheless, your job is to represent all of the people of Chicago and not your own personal interests. On May 15, 2020, you took your oath of office and solemnly swore to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you would faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
The U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, states that the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of these against invasion. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution states that we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense. Likewise, the Illinois Constitution reiterates that the people formed our government with its primary role being to ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the common defense. Brandon Johnson, you violated your oath of office. You have not supported the U.S. Constitution nor the Illinois Constitution. You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion, nor ensured domestic tranquility. You, as mayor, your duty is to serve the public, and you are bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people. Members of City Council, you likewise took an oath of office to support the U.S. and Illinois Constitution. You're also bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is David Mason.
We have to remember history, because the number one thing that we know for certain is that history always repeats itself. So, Mr. Johnson, I know that you can appreciate with me giving you a history lesson with you being a former social studies teacher from Elgin.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
Well, you plan on going back to the classroom anyway. That was the whole purpose with you taking a leave of absence, right? Well, besides the mental reason. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. But let's go ahead and talk about history repeating itself. Let's talk about taxation. Chicago has a tax for everything. Water tax, grocery tax, tourist tax, hotel tax, bag tax, liquor tax, cigarette tax, the highest sales tax in the country by far, parking tax, surcharge of downtown parking, property lease tax, and streamer tax. The only thing that you all don't have a tax for yet is oxygen tax. And the only reason why you don't have a tax for that just yet is because you ain't figured out how to do it yet. But let me not speak too soon, because you probably might actually think it's a good idea and you're going to try to write it down. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's not forget about the good old sugar tax. Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016 and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24 pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already are with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your, let's not forget that we got to watch these politics. And I was at that board of our meeting. And Tom Homan said out of his mouth that it is illegal to harbor and conceal illegal aliens. So like I told you before, that you ain't gonna blink when we ain't gonna flinch either. Now, I'm gonna tell you another thing. All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Robert Thierry.
Hello, thank you for letting me have this opportunity to speak. My name is Robert Thierry. In 2017, I became homeless and disabled. But this year, there's an October 7th attack on two of Chicago's homeless people. Mr. Paul Williams and David Swick were both executed for being homeless, and David Swick was also disabled. I was protesting because homeless lives matter. On November 14th, I was attacked by the owner of the JJ Fish. I have video footage on my cell phone. I did not fight back. They made a false report on me saying that I assaulted them. I was told I could not press charges because I was the assailant on the false report. So November 21st, I went to headquarters at a town hall meeting. And the next day, November 22nd, a detective was assigned. I kept calling him. I didn't get through to him till November 26th. I requested him to look at the video footage at Nikki's across the street from 7828. Actually, 7829 is Nikki's address. He said he would get back to me on Saturday. I didn't get back to him. I had to call him on December 2nd. And I sent him my video on my cell phone. And again, I requested him to look at the video footage at the Nikki's. But instead, he went to JJ Fish and called me on December 6th. He called me. He told me to go talk to the owner of Nikki's, that the owner wants to make amends with me. And I told him, no, I wasn't going to do that. He then said, if you don't drop the charges against him, then I will arrest you for harassing the owner of JJ Fish. I said, no, I want to press charges. I want to go order of protection on him. He hung up the phone on me. J.J. Fish shows a history of total disregard for human life and violence against a disabled citizen of Chicago. Please look into this matter and shut down J.J. Fish at 7828 Southwestern Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is the Chicago Conservative.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
You spent over $574 million on illegal immigrants here in Chicago, Illinois since 2022. Now, you still feel like you have to harbor these illegals, which is not a good idea. And in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to challenge Tom Homan on this because he's trying to clean up our cities, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Now, let me just remind everybody here that Brandon Johnson is terrible with the budget. How is this $40 million credit line is going to work exactly? Because the key word is credit. So how much will we be using from this $40 million? And the real question is, how much will we be paying back? Now, you want to sit here, you and JB Pritzker want to puff out your chest and fight Tom Homan. We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. And I don't want to see people like Pam Bundy and Kash Patel, haul you up out of here and become prosecuted. I don't want to see that happen. But they will do their job if they have to, Brandon Johnson. Now, we are $1 billion in debt. That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money. Now, you ignored me for 10 to 15 seconds last time I was speaking, and I really did not appreciate that at all. But I got a Christmas present for you. Let's remind the people of Chicago that Brandon Johnson spent $32,000 in campaign funds on haircuts and makeup. So I got an early Christmas present for you, Brandon Johnson. This is some makeup for you right here. You got some rouge. You got the makeup brush right there. So you can save this people some money, for crying out loud. Now, let me tell you people, I'm going to be serious here. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. Stop voting these people in. It's not Democrat versus Republican anymore. It is populist versus establishment. It is the populist versus the establishment. Stop letting them trick you into the race baiting when it comes to Brandon Johnson. Oh, black people need help too. Trump want to hurt black people. What are you talking about? We're legal here. We are legal. Now, I'm trying to be nice about this. And Mr. Brandon Johnson, I do respect you in a little bit of way because you're trying the best that you can. I really want to believe that. But listen, man, you got a 14% approval rating. So the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. So I'm just humbly asking you, Brandon Johnson, to please come up with something that's reasonable by the end of this year, because I don't want to see a government shutdown, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Please do your job. I don't care if you're black. Chicago needs to get rid of DEI. I don't care if you're black. Can you do the job? Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job. So please don't fail us.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Okay. Sergeant at Arms, please restore order.
We will not accept the fascist America. We refuse to let our immigrant brothers and sisters be rounded up in hard work. We will not tolerate that. What is needed in these times is mass protest and resistance.
Sergeant at Arms, please remove these individuals from the chambers.
See, and people emotions run deep because this is affecting them. They live in these areas where they seeing all the immigrants come in here and get all the money, all the benefits. And this was said 50 years ago. Muhammad Ali talked about this in the 60s. He told them, he said the Viet Cong can come over here and they'll get a job and y'all will give them money, give them housing. Everybody around the world could come here and get money and get set up, everything, get all help from the country. But the people that live here, the citizens, can't get nothing. So what is that saying about America? The black man in America can't get nothing. So, like he said, I wasn't going to fight those people. Those people ain't did nothing to me. And you gonna treat those people better than me. And you over there trying to take them out. You in a war with those people, and now look at it. Look where we at now. Since Vietnam, they done came over here, got all kind of grants and everything laid at their feet. Meanwhile, you ain't got a window to, a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of. And you begging for reparations that they are not going to give you. They tried to do it in Evanston, Chicago. They said, we're going to give these black folks reparations. We're going to be the first ones to do it. To show that we progressive. It'll be so much red tape, which they did, that you won't, they will disqualify you from being black. They'll say, oh no, you was here. You was in the country already. Your ancestry don't go back to Africa. So I'll be like, are you a fool? It ain't matter where I was from. The color of my skin meant they was gonna enslave my ass. You know how many people they put in slavery that weren't even slaves, wasn't even in the United States? People were free, they didn't care. You was black, had color, that was it. And they gonna come up with rules to try to disqualify you from getting the money. Because if they gave black people reparations, we are talking we're talking zillions of dollars, not even trillions, zillions that they don't even have. That would crack the economy. Think about it. The Jewish people for the Holocaust got what, $20 billion? And they get that like every year. How long was the Holocaust? Less than 20 years. So for less than 20 years, they got that kind of money. Slavery went on for over 400 years. And they got billions. What do you think we gonna get? Or what we entitled to? Everybody say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to work for everything. What have they worked for? What did everybody else have to work for? Who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps? Because the damn sure wasn't them. They didn't get this country by pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. No, they were hanging people by the bootstrap. They took and stole to get what they wanted. So if they're not playing by the rules, that they trying to make everybody else play by, Well, you gotta work hard. You gotta pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Don't expect the government to help you out. They're supposed to help you out. That's what they for. It says assistance by the government. Yeah, there's gonna be people that take the money, the welfare money, and say, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just gonna live off the city and live off government aid. They don't want to be a part of the system. They don't want to be a part of the workforce. They don't want to do anything. They just gonna sit back and enjoy the life of being in mediocrity and being around people that they know until they just get old, sick, no medical benefits, really, and they just die off and go on about their life. That's how they gonna live. That's how they gonna live. I can't force everybody to live the way, they want to live. Some people I know, they just like, man, I ain't working for nothing. This city owed me. They done broke my grandma back, broke my grandfather back, broke my daddy. He was picking, cotton down there in Virginia. So they ain't going with that. Now you look at the city, right? The land of Lincoln. Chicago, Illinois. The staple. We've had nothing but corrupt politician after corrupt politician. And we had the most governors back to back to back in jail. We got the most governors in jail. They just sent Madigan to jail, who used to whip up votes. So Lisa Madigan's father, Mike Madigan is going to jail after all the years of corruption. You have a corrupt governor that you reelected. When during the pandemic, he went to another state after locking down Illinois. He went to Wisconsin that was open and stayed there while he locked down the rest of the city. Cook County, not Illinois, Cook County had the highest taxes with no relief in sight. Cook County, which is called Crook County. The sugar tax, cigarette tax, like they crash everybody out on taxes. So how are you in debt? Where in the world did you get $732 million in debt? How? That makes no sense. None of it. Then you have the biggest layoff in the history of the city of Chicago, 432 teachers, 132 special ed teachers, 311 what they call paraprofessionals, and then school-related staff. You have 677 special education classroom assistants, 33 security officers, and 5 parent workers, all laid off. They're let go. So special education is where they feel they need the cuts. Now, this ain't on Trump. This is on y'all. Now, you're going to end up paying out about $35 million in settlements. The city of Chicago is in trouble. This city is getting rocked. Yeah, the DOC, Department of Corrections, all of them. I mean, this whole city is falling apart. Falling apart. It's falling apart, people. Oh, 100%. Oh, it gets even worse. Because when you start looking at best intentions, like what was the best intentions of everybody involved? You have police issues that's sucking up all the money's budget, paying people. Yeah, you paying people you shouldn't be paying. Oh, that's good. No. Well, at the end of the day, y'all gonna see. Watch this.
Now it looks to be on the verge of getting much bigger.
CBS Chicago political reporter Chris Ty is here with the news breaking today that hundreds more settlements are now on the horizon.
Yeah, these numbers are jaw-dropping, Joe and Erica. And the central question is, why are they ballooning? And can the city pay them? Two questions alders tell me have no clear answer. There's Roberto Almodovar on the verge now of a $17 million settlement with the city. He was wrongfully put away for 23 years on double murder charges, framed, he says, by disgraced former Chicago police detective Ronaldo Guevara.
It's been a rocky ride.
There's Jackie Wilson on the verge of a near $13 million settlement with the city. He was wrongfully put away for more than 30 years on a double murder charge after he says his confession was forced out of him by Police Commander John Burge by using Russian roulette tactics. These are two of the 5 cases approved for settlement Monday by the City Council Finance Committee, totaling over $35 million. The full council still needs to approve them, but the number that may loom largest, 275.
There's 275 more settlements that are on the horizon.
And look at that, on the horizon, because Burge, who they knew was a crooked cop, falsifying testimony, beating people up, doing everything they could to get confessions out of people, breaking arms. I mean, there's so many people who were beaten into confessions by Burge that he influenced other police to do it. So they finally cracked down on him, but they've been knowing he's been doing this for years because he was getting results. Oh, we gonna get a conviction. So it was a lot of people who were coerced, who now got lawyers, who done served all this time and been wrongfully convicted, and the city got to pay them out. So you already $732 million in debt. Nobody's finna dig you out. But y'all keep electing the same people to keep y'all beat down, in jail, Y'all can fire these judges that's protecting these cops. It's on the vote ballot. They tell you to list the judges. Look up their conviction rate. Look at who they convicted. If they keep convicting people that look like you, like as soon as they walk in the courtroom, they look for the darkest brother to come in and say guilty. Sir, he was just standing at the location. He has no prints. No, I don't know how this Negro did it, but they're all sneaky. Guilty. So you want to make sure one way or another, you are staying close to what's going on out here. It's crazy. Oh no, the city is in big trouble because these things that are pending, these settlements, it's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. Trust me.
So this is a
275.
275 was reported today by the legal counsel.
What's behind this? A backlog of cases tied up during COVID, and some alders say a perception by plaintiffs' attorneys around Chicago that the city is quick to settle. And of course, decades of police misconduct.
We're just getting into the meat of these things that took place in the 1990s. And so there's a big bill that's going to continue to come.
The city has massive insurance policies that pay out most of these dollars, but with so many cases looming, can the city afford the insurance premiums?
One of the things that the people need to be concerned about is where exactly this money is coming from. We always play hide the ball when it comes down to how we're paying for these settlements.
Another matter making news out of the Finance Committee today, members rejected a proposal that would require 75% of council approval for any new loan dollars for the city of Chicago. Right now, it's just 51% needed. Alders in favor of the higher threshold say the city's spending is running rampant, and this would have been one way to rein it in. That will not become a reality, Joe and Erica. But as for those settlements, a lot more to report on the next couple of weeks.
275 more. $275 more lawsuits. Now, let that sink in. Well, you gotta you got to look at the situation the way it's designed. Yeah, it's a different world out here, and it's crazy. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with crazy people in this world, and you're dealing with the situations that we're dealing with, you're not going to recover from this deficit, and it's only going to get worse. Jobs are going to get scarce. By 2035, this will be one of the worst cities in America. It's already there. Work-wise, finding a job in the city, good luck. Good luck. All you're going to find is crime. Where you going to work at? Amazon? Drive an Amazon truck? Then get robbed in the Amazon truck? Your job, you're going to have to take 2 buses, 2 trains just to get to work. By the time you get home, it's going to be time to go right back to work. You're going to be living with your uncle, your auntie, your cousins. All y'all going to be living in one big ass house because ain't nobody going to be afforded to go nowhere. Then y'all going to be just having more babies and bringing them in the house. And the baby daddy, he can't afford to take you nowhere because he's living with his mama, his cousins, his auntie, his brothers, his sister. It's crazy. I never knew or liked anything about what she was saying when the female mayor was there. Whatever her name was, I can't even think of her name. But when she was running things, it was a mess. Now you look around at everything else in totality, you starting to see a much bigger picture. They coming at everybody sideways. And Brandon Johnson, he's just the puppet. He's just like, damn, I don't know how to tell people this ain't me. I'm not really making the decisions here. They just put me in charge because I talk nice and I talk well. You know, he like Kwame Kwame Kilpatrick from Detroit. Kwame in jail. And he was being used. They locked up the whole damn Detroit. But see, in Illinois, they ain't gonna do that. They gonna go out to R. Kelly. Kim Fox, everybody was determined to go out to R. Kelly. Made up a lie talking about the Mann Act. He trafficked these women. These parents gave their daughter to R. Kelly, like, here you go. Make sure she like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at night, too. Make sure she get those. I mean, gave them to R. Kelly. Then these are grown people saying that we okay to live here. They're fully well and capable, and the family showing up. We want her to come home. It's like they've been held prisoner. He won't let them leave. It was like they said they happy where they at. They ran away from home to get away from y'all a long time ago. They're adults now. And they want to live with R. Kelly for whatever the goddamn reason is. He paying for every damn thing. They were like, shoot, I want to go back home with y'all. So y'all wanted to go get him for some old crimes because you're mad he got away in 94 or 98 or whatever. You mad about that? Let's get him for the 94 crime when they had him on the VHS tape. We didn't get him then. He got away. He got a mole removed off his back and got away. Now, what everybody can say or not say is different. They going back prosecuting people on old crimes. They have broken every law in the book in this city. This the city I was born in, raised in, and I can't believe the state that the city is actually in. It's scary because Black folks, they care more about what's going on with Sexy Red and Glorilla than what's going on in their goddamn neighborhood. That's a growing problem. That's what you say, we got a serious problem here on our hands. Because it is. Don't ever think for a second the federal government gives a rat's ass about you. They do not. Don't ever think the federal government gives a rat ass about you. They do not. I hate to say it. If you are Black, they are not checking for you. If you get held hostage, right? If you get held hostage, do you know what happens? You are it out of luck. You are not a good bargaining chip. They ain't getting nothing for you. Helicopters will not deploy to come get some. They be like, are you a professional athlete? No. Are you an actor? No. Well, what do you want us to tell your family? Because they are not coming to get your ass for nothing in the world. That's why terrorists, they don't take no doggone Black hostages. They know who to grab when they go on those vacation trips. There be Black folks out there in Cancun. They ain't looking for them. they know who to go get and grab. You seen Captain Phillips? Captain Phillips, see, they don't tell you the real story about Captain Phillips. See, they don't do that because it ruins the Disney production of having Tom Hanks be Captain Phillips, the hero. Captain Phillips was a madman. They interviewed the staff, the people that was on the boat with Captain Phillips. They was like, Captain Phillips was crazy. He tried to get us all killed. We begged him, don't go too close to the land. The skinnies will come out there. That's what they call them, the skinnies. They gonna come out here and they can get to the boat, them pirates. If we go too close, if we too far out, they can't do it. If we go, he would, no, we gonna save time. I know what I'm doing. I done did this trip thousands of times. Captain Phillips was insane. He wouldn't listen to nobody in his crew. They sitting there trying to fight, use the defense mechanism, turning the water on, trying to turn their boats over. They're using everything they can. They're using every tactic they can to get Captain Phillips on board. But what happened? Them people came and get them because they ain't know we gets these white people hostage. We can negotiate and get things for them. This is how we gonna make it. This is how we gonna eat. They gonna negotiate for some white folk. Look at me here. I'm the captain now. Look at me. I'm the captain now. They didn't say, I hope I might be the captain one day. He said, no, I'm the captain now, goddammit. Oh, they play a shell game with people, man. They love to move stuff around and, oh, we gonna do this. No, Chicago always got money for a party. I swear, they just like a doggone chick that talk about she ain't got, oh, I ain't got this, I ain't got that. Next thing you know, she's always can get to a party. Always got some money for a party, though. You ever know somebody that's broke all the time, but they always seem to have some money? But they broke. I'm telling you, it's broke people out there living better than me. You see, broke people know how to get stuff for free. They be like, dude, you pay for cable? You a fool. You know, that's how they look at me. I'm paying for stuff. You paying for all those apps? You paying? Like, damn. I don't even know the last time I paid a cable bill. That's why I'm surprised cable is still in business. I'm like, they should be broke. Is anybody paying a cable bill but me? Because everybody else is like, I'm just paying for internet. I got this hot box. This hot box, I got 2,000 channels. I got one in Dutch. I go to his house that we watching the NBA in Croatia. I'm like, what the hell? We got a Croatian NBA channel? What the hell going on around here? This is what I mean. Man, broke people get paid. Man, look, broke people get paid this disability. It ain't nothing wrong with that crazy ass. Dude be like, I'm psychotic. I get a check. I mean, well, damn. Yeah, I got trauma. I'm like, man, you get a check. Yep, I get a check. Then I got a check from the state saying I can't work. I had a mild stroke one time, and now I'm on the check, and they got to pay me every month. They paying for my rent and gave me housing. I'm like, they gave you a crib? Yep, I'm going to pick up my furniture next week. They come to check on you to make sure you, no, man, as long as I got my paperwork, I'm good. You ain't got to do nothing and get money from the government. I tell you, broke people know how to have money, no matter what. They be broke as hell, but you'll see them at the damn concert. I mean, what the hell you doing here? Don't you was broke? Oh, Nick. Man, I went and sold this doggone thing I had in the house. Yeah, then I sold a couple of plates of food. Yeah, I cooked me some food, sold a couple of plates. Yeah, they bought some. For Medicare and Medicaid. They ain't caring about no Medicaid and Medicaid. They Medipaid. They are like workers for suckers. The country ain't giving me nothing. I'm just going to say, forget it. I'm not participating. I'm not going to fight. It was people like that, and they think everybody black back in when Dr. King was fighting for these rights, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, and all these other brothers that were standing up, they act like everybody black was on board. They wasn't on board. You know what Black said? That nigga need to sit down, stay in his place. He causing a lot of trouble. It's Dr. King. It was black folks that marched with King and started throwing punches at the damn police. It was black folk, they had said, hey, and that's when Dr. King said, if you can't be nonviolent, please don't walk with us. That's the toughest thing ever to do, is to be getting your butt whooped. They sicking dogs on you and everything, and you got to take it. That's a hell of a mental agreement that you making with somebody for no money. But do you know what that accomplished? Did you know why he had that strategy? And it was the best strategy ever? Because it got international help. Because, see, international media was there to broadcast this across the globe. They tell the whole world black folks are evil, they're demons, they're violent in nature. And then you see these people doing a peaceful march and you sicking dogs on them, turning the holes on them. Right? You turning the holes on them. People in Germany saw this. People in England saw this. People in Italy saw this. Everybody was watching, and the UK said, hey, what are you guys doing? This is not fair. These people are not violent. They're not a mob. These people are non-violent, and they're just protesting, and you're turning water hoses on. So, Jewish people from the UK, from Ireland, came to America to fight with the brothers against the prejudiceness that was going on in this country. White folks who didn't have to worry about this. They were going to get a good seat at the restaurant. They flew in to fight, to stand with the brothers, saying, no, that's not right. And they killed those three white people. And they made a whole big civil rights movement about those three white people that got taken out. They made a movie about them. So a lot of things were accomplished by using non-violence. That's why Dr. King wanted non-violence. Not because he was just saying it ain't the right thing to do. No, he used it as a strategy because the whole rest of the world, it would take away the illusion that they made about us being violent. Had we fought them back, we would have had no international help, no international support, no worldwide appeal, nobody who could see what happened in Selma, Alabama, none of this stuff that went down, the violence and who was the real violent people. They were exposed. It was brought out to the light, but people had to endure in order for that to happen. And people talk about how rough the times are today. Do you know what it was like back then? Our mental mind state was so strong back then. Even in the 80s, it was strong. Black families preached education, knowledge for their children. Their kids were articulate. They were taught. They were smart. They were well dressed. Every Sunday, you was going to get dressed up and go to church, boy. You're going to get whopped upside the head. Now, you got the doggone, everybody at church now, it's like come as you are. You got people in church in pajamas. They in pajamas at church. You couldn't do that where we was at. We knew our rights. We knew everything. We were on top of laws. We knew how to go in and petition the laws. Now, we don't do shit. We talk about it, and then we go on Facebook and TikTok and Twitter, make a post, do a TikTok video, and said, I fought the power. No, you didn't. You know who get all the rights? The gays. And why do the gays get the rights? Because they know how to go in there and elect their people into office. That's how you got everything like don't make a lot of sense to you passed as laws. We got a gay mayor of Chicago who was only there for one term. But you know who made sure they got something out of that deal? The gays. But she's a black gay. Well, who got something, the blacks or the gays? The gays. So we were supposed to have a budget spending plan. Rahm Emanuel had a 2018 budget plan that never was followed through. So each mayor that has come in there and sat down has done absolutely nothing. Rahm Emanuel, whose brother is Ari Emanuel, who runs all of entertainment from boxing to MMA, to UFC, wrestling, everything. Barack Obama's best friend, they never ever wanted to run Chicago. Obama had it, he was in the White House with Obama, and that's where he wanted to be. Obama said, no, we need you to go to Chicago and run for mayor. He's like, for what? He didn't never want to be the mayor. We need you to do this. And he was the mayor, and he had to do it and serve his time. Then he was back in the White House until it was over. The Biden administration had him in the office. Now he's out doing God knows what. Society will always put us or pit us in situations that don't normally fit for us. Yep. Well, I did update Screen Fiend. If you remember, you have the spoiler review of Superman. Of course, they took all the money and they left the city. But Chicago is doomed with no correction in sight. It's a doomed city. And unfortunately, without a regime change, I don't see it doing anything. Yeah, well, when you get into the ring with some of the worst people in the game, you start to see like where the trends are setting, like where the real problems lie. Right. You know where the problems are. So anyway, I'm gonna get up out of here and get some work done. I'm out. Thanking you